What's up, gamers? Koobs here. Welcome to the video, and thank you so much for stopping by the channel. I want to value your time, but I also don't want to rush things. And I'm pretty excited, so I know that that'd be pretty easy to do. So what I want to do first is kind of outline what I'm going to cover in this video. That way, if you need to, you can kind of jump around or you can come back, whatever suits your interest. So first we're going to start with an MOC 12 showcase. As you can see, we have Shui Yi, and we're going to show off the new Harmony Trailblazer. We're also using Ran Mei, and we're using Gallagher. And we'll go over the builds after this showcase. After I go over the builds and kind of talk about this team comp itself a little bit further, I've got a little bit of a gameplay tip for the new event Lightcone. And then we're also going to take a look at some of the other big winners, in my opinion, from this new change. Namely the 4-star characters and the 5-star standard banner characters. Before finishing with a glimpse of something really kind of special that I certainly was not expecting. So thanks again so much for being here. I've got timestamps in the description for you. I'm just going to hype up the Harmony MC. This is going to be a lot about Ran Mei as well, and I'll kind of touch on her a little bit further. But this is just a huge W in my mind for all players, but also for free-to-play players. Look at that, Gallagher just did 190k. Like, show me another sustainer that's doing that damage. And I know Event Dream just came out, so it's possible that they can, but like absolutely crazy. So gosh, it's really kind of predicated on this new super break effect, and I'll talk about that a little bit further as well. So I'm just going to kind of jump into it. I think I've kind of laid the foundation for you. Like I said, I don't want to rush, but I do have some things that I'd like to talk about. The first thing that I want to disclose here is that my Ran Mei is E1, and that might be making a big impact on this team composition. But one of the key things that I'd like to focus on is how easy this composition would be for a free-to-play player to put together. My Gallagher's at E2, my Shui Yi's at E1, and those are two 4-star characters that are, well, they're not, I'm not going to say they're easy to get, but they're not impossible to get, right? And some of us might have them from maybe picking them from a 4-star selector in the past. And then we have the Harmony Trailblazer, of course, which everybody has. Now, some of us are really excited for Robin and what she can do for our both like dual DPS comps and follow-up teams. I think she's going to be awesome in her own right, and I can see why a lot of people are super excited about her. But I feel like the Harmony MC is the real like focal point. This super break damage is changing the game in a way that I didn't really think they were going to lean into. The thing about break effect is that if you build for it, if your character who's built for break effect doesn't get the break, then that investment is sort of wasted, right? Or at least it feels wasted. Now with super break effect happening, you're still getting full value from that investment in your break effect. So like you can just see the numbers of this team and the damage that they're outputting. So if you don't mind, I want to take a second to just coin the team name Ran GMC for this team comp of Ran Mei, Gallagher, and the Harmony MC kind of as like the core, and then you can pretty much put in whatever suited element damage dealer you'd like to. I think there's tons of great options, and we'll go over some of those a little bit later, but just want to throw that out there. Ran GMC, I thought it was kind of fun and cool, and you heard it here first. You were here for it. Oh, that was, I cleared that in 3 cycles. If you take a look here, I think if I would have targeted the dinosaur, that I might have been able to clear it before the end of the wave, but neither here nor there. Let's take a look at those builds. So first we've got Shui Yi, and one of the things that you might notice is that my attack is only 2,000, which is not incredibly high for like the focus of the, you know, damage dealer on your team. We are using On the Fall of an Eon, which is the Her to Shop Lightcone at S5. It gives you extra damage when somebody on your team breaks an enemy's weakness. That's perfectly synergistic. My Zhuyi is level 80. I have 5s and 7s there. And then you can see we're using 2-piece Thief set, 2-piece Watchmaker, and then just kind of best in slot for my rope and my orb, but we're using break effect rope. And like I mentioned earlier, we're at E1. This character gets way better with Eidolons, so the potential is just kind of at like the surface there.
My name is Ran
Ran-Mei.
When saying my name, please don't run the syllables together.
I give her a second there. Hopefully that lined up well, so that she wasn't. I wanted to let her tell you how to say her name. It's Ran, like I ran so far away to get my Ran-Mei. Okay, my Ran-Mei is E1. Max traces, we're at 247% break effect. It's probably not very relatable to a lot of gamers, but it does kind of show you the value and the potential of investing in a character like this, because it's providing such a boon to the whole team. You're not focused on just buffing one individual teammate for damage. You're buffing everybody now, and you could kind of see that in the showcase there. So I highly recommend picking up at least one copy of Ran-Mei. Her signature Lightcone's really good, but Memories of the Past works really well. And if you don't have that, you could also use Meshing Cogs. For the new Harmony MC, we have 2800 attack, which is actually pretty solid. And I think we were at 170 or 180% break effect there. We're using this new Lightcone, the new event Lightcone. It gives you attack, and it also increases your damage after you use your ultimate. Really good for this character, but also really good for Robin. If you've picked up Robin, that's a perfect Lightcone for her. Here's the traces. We're at, what's it say, 5s and 8s right now, because we've got Eidolon 5 unlocked. And again, we're using a 2-piece Thief and 2-piece Watchmaker. You could go full Watchmaker set, and you could get the bonus break effect when you use your ultimate. But because I have that on Ran-Mei, it didn't seem as important. And then I'm running a break effect rope. I'm going to mention I'm not running speed boots with my Trailblazer, but I do have speed substats to get her to like 120 or so. You might want some speed in your build. You might want a speed boot, but keep in mind that the turns, like as your character takes more turns, the super break effect is going to run out. So you don't want to be so fast that your other characters aren't taking advantage of that super break effect, if that makes sense. Gallagher, sorry to kind of brush over him. He's got 2-piece and 2-piece. He's using Broken Keel with a break effect rope. No, sorry, with an energy regen rope, as we saw. And he's at about 142, I think, break effect. So that's kind of the builds. Hopefully they're semi-relatable. The Eidolons for the 4 stars aren't anything incredible. Here's the thing I wanted to talk about for this event Lightcone. So there, I took a second to show you the buffs that my character had before using the ultimate and then after using the ultimate. Since I used the ultimate while it was my character's turn, you'll notice that when my next turn comes up, I still have this damage boost buff. And that's going to be super useful when you're trying to kind of max the efficiency of that boost. So if you can use your ultimate on your character's turn, you're going to get the damage boost buff for that attack and the next attack when your turn comes up. So as you can see here, we've still got that damage boost there of 30% from the Lightcone from when we used our ultimate on our last turn. So if you can try to sync that up, you can get a little bit more, you can kind of, maximize that boost that you're getting. And again, that would also work, I think, in theory for Robin, if you're using the Lightcone for her. I don't have Robin, and so I can't say specifically. I wanted to just appreciate how the super break just pops off the screen at you. I really think that that's a fantastic effect. Welt, I think, is definitely a benefactor of these new changes and of the super break damage. He already has bonus damage built into his kit to enemies that are weakness broken and to enemies that are slowed. And the fact that he's slowing the enemies down means that they are spending longer time in the weakness broken state, which means that they're more vulnerable to super break damage. I mean, just perfectly synergistic there with Welt. I think that he could really shine in this sort of a composition. And then I also wanted to show off Luca just really briefly. I know that Boot Hill is right around the corner. Many of us are excited for him. We have Boot Hill at home, and I think that Luca is definitely a big winner from these new changes and works really well in this sort of a team composition. I'm going to do just kind of a side-by-side comparison. This second example, I kind of hostaged my ultimate. So instead of using it when it came up, I waited until my turn was up so that I can do like a 1-2 punch combo and kind of show you the damage potential of that as well. But I think that Luca's a huge winner. I think that, like I mentioned, Welt is a winner, especially because he's on the standard 5-star banner. You maybe have one of your 50/50s went south and you got Welt, or maybe you got him from the 5-star selector. So there's a chance that you have Welt on your account. And the other Nihility units that come to mind who can take advantage of this synergy with break effect are, of course, Luca, as I mentioned, but also Gwenifin, who has break effect built into her traces, and Sampo, because Sampo is one of the few characters that has a bounce attack, and the bounce attacks are perfect for shredding your enemy's toughness bar. So I think that break effect Sampo could be really strong. And that also kind of makes me think of Asta as well. I don't necessarily know if like a DPS break effect Asta could fit into this comp, but I mean, who knows? I wouldn't doubt it until I at least tried it. And then of course we had Jue Yi, and like I mentioned, she simply gets better with more Eidolons that you have. Her E2 makes it so that her follow-up attacks are dealing toughness damage regardless of the enemy's weakness type. Her E4 is going to give her some bonus break effect when she triggers her ultimate, and her E6 is going to make it so she gets more follow-up attacks more often. So like I can just see her really shining as a, you know, the more Eidolons that you have unlocked for Jue Yi. Okay, next up, Best Girl, Su Shang. Definitely one of the biggest winners. She gains speed when break effect occurs. She also, when she's attacking broken enemies, it guarantees that she triggers her sword stance, which that's definitely huge to increasing her damage. When you use her skill on a broken enemy, it actually refunds you the skill point. So you're not only are you getting the most out of your super break effect damage with Su Shang, but you're also getting that skill point back. So now she's skill point neutral. I mean, that's in itself is huge. And then she also gets 40% break effect built into her kit if you get her Eidolon 4. So I would certainly say that Su Shang is another winner. And it also makes me think of somebody who maybe is flying a little bit under your radar, but that would be Himiko. And Himiko comes to mind because her follow-up attack is based around break. So it triggers upon break effect, meaning that you could immediately deal super break damage to that target. Before, if you had built Himiko for break effect, then it's kind of wasted. I kind of mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but if you're building for break effect and your character isn't the one who deals the break, then that investment is sort of wasted, right? You're not getting the most out of it. And so knowing that now you could build Himiko for break effect and still get the most out of it because you're going to trigger super break damage after the enemy's shields have been broken, I think that that's going to present a lot of synergy and could really kind of open up some new doors for Himiko as like a focal point for this break team. Okay, really quickly, because I can see that we're getting close to the 15-minute mark, I wanted to cook for just a second with Misha. I'm picturing Misha, Harmony MC, Ranmei, and Welt, and using all of them to slow the enemy's turn, basically freezing them, delaying them, imprisoning them, delaying their turn, and then dealing massive amounts of super break damage amongst the team. I could see that being crazy and a lot of fun, but it would take maybe some investment into Misha to see if it's possible, but could see it being, the potential is there. And then the last character that I wanted to touch on really briefly that was a huge surprise to me was Arlen. No, I'm just kidding. Go home, Arlen. It was actually Dr. Ratio. Dr. Ratio, I had no idea that Dr. Ratio was going to shine in this sort of situation. I've never had my Ratio hit this hard before. And this is with like pretty low attack rating and with about maybe like 55% crit rate, and I think he had maybe about 150% crit damage. Okay, so it's kind of like a hybrid build, but the amount of damage that he's able to put out is far exceeding anything that I've ever seen from my Dr. Ratio before when I build him for full crit and I put him on like a hyper carry team comp. Super relatable, nearly 400% break effect on our Ranmei. No big deal there, right? Okay, one of the things that I wanted to try to vocalize, there are several really strong team compositions out there right now. I can think of Acheron with Kafka and Black Swan and Hua. That would be a really powerful team, but those are 4 limited 5-star units. I could think of Ratio, Topaz, Aventurine, and Robin. Super powerful team, really synergistic, right? Again, we're talking 4 limited 5-star units. One of them we did get for free, but you still need 3 other limited 5-stars. What I'm showcasing here is with 1 limited 5-star unit that is, yes, an E1, so you do need 2 copies for this particular, if you wanted to replicate what I'm showing here to its fullest extent, at least. You would need an E1 Ranmei. However, that's way cheaper than 4 limited 5-star units, and we're clearing the hardest content in the game. So just something to think about. I think it's super free-to-play friendly. I'm really excited to see what else is around the corner. Thanks so much for being here. I have been and always will be Coobs. I just really appreciate you. You can favorite your favorite Trailblazers now. Did you know that? Did you see that? You can favorite them now. Peace and love, gamers. Subscribe.